let's see it like this. Axton is a partaker of the blessings of our house because Axton, what he does is that he comes to our house, and Amber was talking about this morning building cabinet doors. And Kyle, we was talking about putting, we talked one time about putting screens. And that's why I don't want screens on my, cabinet doors because, dog hair. She said, do you know how much dog hair is in our pantry? I said, well, do you know the reason why there's so much dog hair in your pantry? She said, why? I said, that's the first door that our grandkids open up when they go into our house. The first thing they do, they stand there and they open the pantry door, and I will do my invitation to my grandkids.
Yep.
And then we watch them, they get home. When we get home, we go look in the trash can, and there is 14 bags of potato chips. And so the thing is that did we promise our kids that we would keep them there? That is a blessing. They know that if they go to Mimi and Papa's house, odds are that they're going to have what? Club crackers.
And Cheez-Its.
Or Cheez-Its. And apparently now we've got to have salt for the Cheez-Its because sometimes, Kai, the Cheez-Its do not have enough salt in them. So now the order has been placed. Did we promise Axton salt for his Cheez-Its? Did we promise Axton Cheez-Its? But the thing is that we do this because we want to bless our grandchildren. But isn't it funny that our grandchildren, when our grandchildren come over, it's almost like how we come over when we visit God. When we come over and when our grandchildren come over, Dory, I don't know about y'all, but when our grandchildren come over, I was watching Axton. And has anybody ever watched somebody play an interactive game where they got that headset on, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had never really just sit and watched.
I watched James.
I watched Axton yesterday. The boy was totally consumed by this game. And so, Kai, when I walked up to him and started kind of messing with him, I received a lecture that I was interrupting his game time.
That's right. It's very important to him at that time.
Yes. And so the thing is that when my grandchildren come over, or your grandchildren come over, or your children come over, what are they consumed by? What is occupying their minds? So the thing is that my grandchildren, I've made this offer, and y'all heard it. If they would do this, we would receive this and we would go do this. But the other side of it is, if you don't follow through, then what will you receive?
Nothing.
So for me, if I want this thing to work, number one, I have to understand my limits. The thing is that I do not desire wealth. Why do I not desire wealth?
I agree. I mean, you have to be, what's the word? S starts with an S, but good with money. If you're going to be blessed with money, you need to be doing what God called you to do with the money. And
I take it simple. I look like this. Years ago, Artie and I both was raised up in the martial arts, and we were both told, very same story. You think you're bad. You think you're tough. You go out and you start showing everybody because you are bad and you are tough. You've been taught these things. But guess what you're going to do? You're going to meet somebody who's better than you. It is a guarantee. You fight enough, you're going to meet somebody who's better than you. And when that person that you meet is better than you, what they're going to do, they're going to clean your clock. They're going to humble you. They're going to break you, and then you're going to come back. I knew this guy one time, and he worked on this technique. It was a pretty technique. This guy had it down pat. And he could do this thing, man, when you spar Eric. I mean, he was bad with it. Well, one day he comes up and he shows up to class. And both eyes were black and his nose was broke. God bless you. Both eyes were black and his nose was broke. And so I was like, what happened? guess what he did out in a street fight? He tried to do that to a guy. That guy closed that distance and grabbed his foot in the middle of the air and hit him. Right in the nose.
It's over with.
Bam! Out. You know what happened for the next 4 or 5 years? Bob Blankenship says, now remember, don't be like that guy. If you want to end up like that, that's how you go. So the thing is that I learned this thing called positioning. Positioning is this. If you don't want to be in that position, then don't put yourself in that position. Don't allow yourself to be in that position. That's why I'm really careful about the people that I'm around. And I'm careful about the circumstances that I'm around people in. Because, see, I know, it's like I was messing with people the other day at Home Depot. I was upset. And they said something to me. I said, I'm going to tell you something. I said, I'm a jerk. I said, I know I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk and I'm a smart aleck. And the thing is, I'm going to say things that are going to be smart. I'm going to say things that's going to bite into things. Especially, I said, but I try hard to not be this way. But if you make me respond this way, you're not going to like it because I don't want to be this way. But I'm going to respond this way. So I try not to put myself in that position to where I have to face that possibility. Does that make sense? So the thing is that if I want to position myself, you have to understand whose responsibility is positioning. It's yours. So the thing is that if you want to position yourself, you have to understand everything, that you set the limits of God's blessing. You put yourself in it. There was a situation that come up the other day, and we talked about it, but the thing is that I'm driving down the road the day of the snow and all of it happening. And I turned the corner, we just unloaded my brand new generator, and so I had to go to Lowe's, get some stuff to try to hook up my generator. And so the thing is that it's funny because I had run all over town to find the part to hook up generator. You would think that it was be an easy thing. Every major supplier, I went through all the wholesale places, none of them had this plug-in to plug it in. And so finally, the last store I went to, as they was closing, I'm upset now, and I run off the road because of the snow, jump the curb because I didn't see the curb door. I go through the ditch, come out the other side, and I stopped then. I said, hello, God. I need help.
Hello.
Isn't that funny? We always wait until that point to say, okay, God, I need help.
We're already.
Yeah. And I said, God, I've got to try to hook this thing up. At least, I don't know if I'm going to have to hook it up, but I want the stuff that if it does fail, I've got what I need. And so, needless to say, I go online. I don't know why I didn't go online. And I happened to check Lowe's inventory. Carrie, guess how many Lowe's had after I prayed? 125. I am not lying. I done messed with the idiots at Home Depot. I done went through all the wholesale electric places in Conway. Nobody had one, Eric. Nobody.
Need 30 amp plug.
No, 50 amp plug.
50 amp.
Good morning. But the thing is that Lowe's had 100 and something of them. I'm like, what the? And he said, this is what the guy says when he gets there. He says, well, the reason why nobody can find them is because we don't keep them in the electrical.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what? He says, well, somebody decided that these plug-ins should be arranged within the appliances.
What?
Sounds typical.
Needless to say, I didn't give a crap. I didn't care. All I wanted was the plug-in. That way, in case something failed, I'm in a good position. So God blesses me with that door, and I go pick it up, and I'm leaving. I'm like, I can make this work. You give me the basic tools, I can make something work. I'm smart enough because I'm going to tell you something. We went into this scenario, and Amber had made a comment about, well, you know, what if it fails? You know, we got all these kids. I'm thinking, oh, my God, if this thing fails, I'll never hear the end of it. I got to take care, huh?
I said, we got all these kids, they ain't even
Yeah.
running.
I said, I've got to get this thing. I said, I'm going to go ahead and just bite the bullet. I didn't want to do it, but I went ahead and bought the bullet. Long story short, had everything ready to go, including the gas. Everything was ready to go. So I'm heading home from Lowe's. And I turn this corner by the bank, and what do you think I say? Because I am by nature a product of Fred Sanford. I am by my nature. If something is on the side of the road, that means it's free.
Dun, dun, dun.
And if it's free, and if it's got a possibility for being good and of value, guess what? It's got to come home. I need it. And what do y'all think I seen?
A generator broke down.
A generator on the side of the road. And this guy was pulling it off the side of the road. And it was a Honda generator. And I stopped, slowed down. I said, hey man, I said, do you need help? I figured it slid out of his truck. He said, no, somebody lost it here. I'm just getting it out of the way. I'm like, okay. So I drove down. I turned right. And I'm like, you need to go grab that sucker. Now the war started. I should have just drove off, but there was a part of me that says, well, you know, if you don't find who owns it, you get to keep it. But what if you do find who owns it? Then you got to give it away. So there's this battle, because we all admit, we all have this battle. If you're going down the road and you find a $100 bill, you don't say, hey, anybody lose a $100 bill?
All right.
Now, if you're nice, you're going to say, does anybody lose any money? Well, you know, how much was it? Well, it's green. No, that don't count. And so I circled back and I loaded all this stuff. I'm thinking, man, I just received the blessing. I just received the blessing. And thank you, Lord, for the blessing. And the thing is that it was a blessing, all right, but the blessing was a test. That's the test. That was the blessing. And so I was like, okay, this is simple. This is simple. So I'll get home. I said, tell Amber about it. I said, here's the deal. But I won't lie. There's a big part of me, the old Monty side action, that wanted to keep that. And you know how I justified wanting to keep this? Jacob said, Bailey wants a generator. So part of me says, well, I'll let Bailey use it. Then the other part of me says, heck no, she can get her own. I need a backup. So there I now, I got another war going on in my mind. I said, well, the best thing I can do is get rid of this temptation, Addison. The best thing I can do is get rid of this thing. Only person I ain't called on is Zane because I can't see Zane. Hey, Zane, sit up. So the thing is that what I do is I tell Amber, hey, Amber, we need to go on Facebook. We need to put it out there. Does anybody?
I think I read that on there somewhere. They put it on there and didn't pay attention.
Yeah. And sure enough, the guy, and so she called. She was talking to me. I said, now, ma'am, I said, now, forgive me for saying this. I said, but I'm just going to be rude to the point. You're going to have to describe this thing. And I need more details other than it's a generator. Because, I'm sorry, I just don't trust people. But I know that I had to get rid of it. And so, the question was, and I was telling Jacob about it, the thing was, or the reason why that I knew that this thing had to go, that it had to go back, it was important that this thing get done, because I am trying to position me and my family to not just get God's blessing, but to keep and maintain God's blessing. The thing is that the generator, I had one. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But the other side of it is that how many blessings down the road would that have locked?
Many.
Lots.
Tons.
Probably unthought.
More than you could ever imagine. But the other question is that you got to understand something. A test or a challenge is a key. You got to understand this. A test or a challenge is a key. And this test or challenge is something, Axton, that if you choose to take this key and you fail that test, you've locked that door. You're not going to go no further. You're not going to be blessed any further. But if you take this thing and you unlock this door with this key, now all these blessings are going to go beyond it. So what are some of the things that keep you from walking in God's blessing? All right? Number one, the biggest one is unbelief and doubt. Now, what is unbelief, Addison? I can't hear you. What?
Something you don't believe.
Something you don't believe. So did y'all believe that I would call your name? Hey, grandkids, did y'all believe that I would call your name? So what did I tell you to do? That if you did not want me to call your name, what would you
Sit
do?
up.
Huh? You would sit up. Did y'all doubt that? Apparently, to a certain degree, Zane did, because what did Zane do?
He laid down.
Zane laid back down. Axton has been dealing with this temptation of laying back down again. So every time Axton lays back down and starts getting slack and starts playing games and Blade, do you want to go somewhere? Are you paying attention to what Addison's doing? So you see how these things work. We're being distracted. Did you know that one of the other things that keep you from receiving God's blessing is being distracted? So what about disobedience and persistent